So today I wanted to talk about 3 secrets to overcoming high functioning anxiety. And I want to keep this conversation short because I know you're busy and I want to just share with you some things that have not only been helpful for me, but that I often share with my clients and students that are struggling with high functioning anxiety to really help them to realize that this doesn't have to be a permanent part of who you are. You don't always have to be stuck in this place of always overthinking things, putting tons of pressure on yourself, struggling with self doubt and wanting things to be perfect and wanting to do things the right way, having difficulty relaxing or feeling like you need to earn relaxation and rest, and feeling like you need to put tons of pressure on yourself, people pleasing and worrying about what people are going to think, or difficulty saying no to others or no to requests. So, all of those things do not have to be a part of your day to day functioning. Of course, we're human and they may come up from time to time, but it doesn't have to be your day in and day out. Let's get started into the secrets. So, secret number one is that you overdoing things is a form of avoidance, and that's what's going to keep high functioning anxiety stuck around longer. So, what I mean by this is that when you always are staying busy or overworking or constantly going through things in your mind and overthinking things, or trying really hard and putting tons of pressure on yourself and having high expectations for yourself, these are forms of overdoing things. So putting in too much effort, or constantly being on the go and never slowing down. And what many people don't realize is that this can be a form of avoidance. So maybe you are avoiding failure. Maybe you are avoiding uncertainty. So one example of how you might be avoiding failure is that, you're afraid of not doing well in your job. And so you can consistently overwork and do too much, because you're afraid if you stop or slow down, then something bad's going to happen. You're going to get fired, or anything else that you might be imagining. Let's say if you are afraid of uncertainty, you might overthink things in your head. Like maybe you have an important meeting tomorrow or an important conversation with somebody. And so you go through things over and over again in your mind. And so that helps you to feel a sense of control over the situation. But really, you're just doing this because you're afraid of, well, what if I don't have any control in the situation? Another form of avoidance, or another reason why this can be a form of avoidance, is because oftentimes we stay busy to avoid the difficult thoughts and emotions that come up when we stop. So, if you notice, a lot of times people with high functioning anxiety have difficulty sleeping at night. So, if you notice that before you go to bed at night, your mind starts, going over and thinking about all the things that happened today, or all the things that you have to do tomorrow, all the things that are on your to-do list, that could be because you didn't allow yourself time to slow down and reflect during the day and to get out what was on your mind. And so then it's going to all come up when you actually have that space where there's not busyness, you're not doing something, or you're not taking in some sort of information. So it can be really important to start to, if you notice that you're in these states of always being busy or never slowing down, really slowing down and starting to listen to yourself, starting to get things out of your head so they don't build up, starting to reflect more on your emotions. So secret number 2 is that it's not about fixing yourself. So a lot of times people will come to me and they'll say, like, I just want to fix all of these problems that I have right now, or, there must be something wrong with me, when that is not the case at all. And really what is happening is that when you're doing this, when you're saying that, okay, there's something wrong with me, or I need to fix myself, you're actually just reinforcing that belief and creating more negative thoughts and difficult emotions. So you are communicating to yourself that there is something wrong with me and I am a problem that needs to be fixed. And that's going to actually put you in a more negative mindset and make you feel like you're never going to arrive to the place where you feel like you're good enough. And oftentimes we can look for external things to help us to feel more worthy from within. So you're kind of trying to fill up a hole that is within you by things on the outside. So, for example, by getting more achievements or accomplishments, by having the quote unquote perfect relationship or family or having enough money, and all of those things, when we continue to try and seek them out without filling in that hole of feeling not good enough from within, it's going to be an endless chase. And so the sooner that you can start to work on, and it's not an easy journey, but it is absolutely and entirely possible, but the sooner that you can begin to work on starting to feel whole and good enough from within, and starting to challenge those beliefs that there's something wrong with me, I'm not good enough, I need to be fixed, then that's going to help you to overcome high functioning anxiety. And then secret number 3 is that balance is essential. Maybe this is a secret, maybe not. I do talk about this a lot, but really it is the idea that in order to have happiness and fulfillment and cope with stress and manage anxiety, it's important to have a kind of going forward and leaning back into things. So periods where you are going forward and pushing harder and doing more work, and then periods where you are pulling back and then recovering from that and taking the space and time that you need to actually listen to yourself and to your needs. So balance is not about perfection and 50-50 work-life balance. Balance is about actually listening to yourself and recognizing that for as many times as you have continue to push forward and do more, there needs to be a recovery period afterwards. And whether it is interspersed throughout your day or whatever that might look like for you, it's really personal and it can be different for everybody. But when you don't respect this, that is when you get into a place of burnout. And that is when you get to a place of feeling like you have nothing left to give, feeling completely overwhelmed and anxious. And anxiety becomes worse when you are not caring for yourself. So I like to compare it to something like psoriasis, where if you're familiar with it, a lot of times people will say that, if you struggle with something like psoriasis, you can get a flare up when you are experiencing stress. And it can be similar with anxiety. So if you're undergoing a lot of stress, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not taking time to rest and recharge, that is when anxiety can worsen. And so that's important to be aware of, that, understanding yourself more and recognizing and listening to those cues and those warning signs for you of, okay, my negative thinking is becoming worse, my anxiety is becoming heightened. That is a warning sign for me that I need to check in with myself. I need to assess and identify, does something need to change in my life? Am I working too hard? Am I not setting proper boundaries? Am I not practicing self-care? Am I not listening to my own needs? And so that can be a really valuable thing to also keep in mind, and a super important and impactful thing and secret that will help you to overcome high functioning anxiety. So I want you to know it is entirely possible to get to a point where high functioning anxiety is no longer holding you back. You don't have to struggle to achieve success. You don't have to struggle to have a life that you enjoy. So yes, struggling is a necessary part of life. So not everything is easy. And I don't mean that everything's going to be easy, but I mean that we don't have to create even more struggling and suffering on top of that, because high functioning anxiety can be the suffering that is optional, that we create ourselves. And it's not to say that it's not real. It's not to say that it's easy to change, but it is the way that we think about things, the way that we feel, the way that we our behaviors or engage in things. Those are all things that you can change, that can help you to manage your world in a better way, so that you can have improved relationships, so that you can feel better at work, so that you can become more comfortable with yourself and stop doubting yourself all the time. And so that is what I mean when it comes to not having to struggle through things. And also when things that are difficult do come up. So whether it is life stressors or changes or transitions or anything like that, so that you're better able and armed with the tools that you need to manage things. And I'm going to be sharing way more about this and what you can do to manage high functioning anxiety and to overcome it in the coming weeks over the next month. So if this is something you're interested in learning more about, then absolutely stay posted. But I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions about this topic at all, then feel free to leave a comment below and let me know what you think. All right, so I will see you soon. Until next time, be calm.